All right, definitely want to see more hands up this quarter. So let's do this together. Page 7. All right, for model A, what fraction is being shaded? All right, Brando. Great. All right, what's, Brandon, you might as well do the whole entire column. What's the decimal equivalent for 34 hundredths? One more time. How do you say it using the place value? How do you say it in word form? It's good to practice it. Because you say it the same way as you say the fraction. No, not as percent. Right, say it. We say it the same way as we write it as a fraction. So 34 hundredths, you would say it as a fraction 34 hundredths and as a decimal the same way. Okay, which is kind of good because I want you to realize that they are equivalent. They're just in two different forms. All right, Brando, as a percent. Remember what percent means? Per 100. 34 per 100, 34%. And then the ratio part to whole, which you could do using a colon, or you can use it as the fraction bar. Either or is fine. But get it into your head. Part plus part makes whole. So even though they don't ask you in model A, the part that's unshaded, but if I do it now, what part of the whole is unshaded out of 100? 66 out of 100. And if you add it together, shaded plus unshaded, it makes 100 out of 100, which is your whole. All right, model B. Got to kind of count carefully, don't you? Sebastian, what do you have? Keep going. How do you say it as a decimal? Percent. You got it. Very nice. Good job. Good job. Model C. Got to count carefully. Squirt. Everybody says 38 every year, and it's not 38. It's careful. Got to be real careful. Alexa. No, that's got to count carefully. Sometimes it helps you if they're shaded and they're not all in order. Put a little cross out after you count it so you don't count it twice. What you got? 40 is correct. Out of what? Out of what, Owen? Okay. 40 out of 100 is good. As a decimal, bud. As a percent. And as a ratio part to whole. All good. All right. How many of you got 100 on that first part? Great. Now, when I was walking around the room, 1 through 4, everybody had something a little different. I'm going to write down what I have. It doesn't mean that what you have is wrong. I just want you to start to see some connections. One of them about fractions and ratios is that they are kind of the same. If you take a look at your fraction 34 to 100 and in ratio part to whole, it's 30. We say it the same way, 34 to 100. So really they are kind of the same. So I do want you to write down that they are the same, or they're kind of like the same. Okay, in regard to decimals and fractions, I've kind of already mentioned this, is that we say it the same way we write it. Or we say it the same way. So if you say the decimal 34 hundredths and then say it again as a fraction, it gets pronounced the same way in word form. And the other connection that you could see is if you take a look at the number 34, it's really your numerator with a decimal before it. Okay, that's the easiest way. As long as your bottom is 100, to make it a decimal, you take the numerator and you add a decimal to the far left and you're good. Am I writing okay? All right. Fractions and percents. Even though if you didn't write this, I bet you can do it. The numerator is the, oh, raise your hand. When I look at the fraction, the numerator is the, fill in the blank, Jen. Yeah, it's the number of the percent. As long as what? What other condition has to be in place in order for us to say that the numerator is the percent? Because there's one other stipulation in order for that to work. Ryan. The denominator has to be 100. And if it's not, your goal is to try to make an equivalent fraction or an equivalent ratio over 100, so then we can easily find the percent. Okay? All right, there it is. The numerator is the percent. And the last thing we kind of talked about in the warm-up. When you change decimal to a percent, what do you do with the decimal? If you change, and we'll use 0.34 as an example. When I change 0.34 to 34%, I have to do something with the decimal. What do we do with the decimal when we change it from a decimal to percent? Alexa. That's true. You do multiply it by 100. When you do that, what happens to the decimal? Yes. Okay, if you multiply it by 100, it goes away, but it's gone but not forgotten, because even though you don't see it with percent, there's an invisible decimal point to indicate any whole number that's after that 34. So we move the decimal 2 places to the right. What about when we go from percent to decimal? What's the rule? L.
You move the decimal 2 places to the left.
You got it. All right, page 8. All right, sometimes they give you percent, sometimes they give you ratio, sometimes they give you fraction. They don't ever give you a fraction, do they? No, that we can do. You've got to fill in the missing blocks and then shade the model according to what they give you. Just be careful with single-digit percentages. What's 6% as a decimal? Be careful. Ella. No, as a decimal.
Oh, 0.06.
Yes, or just 0.06. Okay, 600ths. We say it like we write it. Once you get that and can say that, 600ths, it becomes 6 over 100. And then look, you want me to show you how you can cheat? You don't feel like shading? At least this is the way I show it to you on a key, because I don't like shading. I just put lines through 6 boxes, and that's 6 out of 100. You can do it that way. If you want to shade, you can. Just don't spend a whole entire period coloring boxes. All right? You want to do one more together, or do you think you're good? All right, group up, go. You have until the rest of the period, but you do not need to finish everything in time for the bell. We're going to continue next period.